What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
You dead meat!
Go ahead and laugh, you guys. If I ever find a little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
Welcome to the Dead Meat Podcast, your horror safe haven. I'm Chelsea.
I'm James. We're married. We like to get scared together.
This week on Twitter, I put out a request for your worst movie suggestions. And I'm not talking, the example I used specifically was not like Sharknado, where it's bad on purpose. I wanted just pure trash. And one of the first suggestions I got was from Twitter user Cam, who said Darkness Falls, and that instantly lit up a weird memory center of my brain. And I said, absolutely, yes, we are talking about Darkness Falls, because I've never seen it, but I have memories of it being a movie that scared at least one of my friends. What's funny is when you Google Darkness Falls, there are threads from the horror subreddit, which the horror subreddit's such a funny place. There was one thread that was like, this movie's an underrated classic. Shut the fuck up. No, it's not.
Yeah, this movie sucks. This came out in 2003. It is exactly the kind of movie that made me stop watching horror movies for years.
Yeah.
Because I was super into horror movies as a kid. Probably around like 2000, 2001, was really getting into them. That was when I was doing my website and everything. And then I would go and see the new horror movies. And in 2003, I was 13 when this came out in January. So I was able to go see it. It's PG-13. And I was just pissed.
Being 13 years old, that's around when you start to, like, if you're a kid that loves movies like we all did in this room, that's around the age when you start to really realize, oh wait, movies can suck, and I understand why they suck.
Yeah.
But
for me, specifically for horror, I was looking at this shit and I was like, this shit's PG-13. It's not scary. I see what they're doing with how they just keep cutting away from what I want to look at.
But what's interesting is this coincides with, like, you turning that age where stuff starts to seem not as great sometimes, or you grow out of things. But also looking back, no, horror just genuinely kind of sucked.
Yeah.
So it's not just like
exactly.
This is when it's like, no. This was, those two things coincided.
I know. I'm glad that I can look back at 13-year-old me and be like, no, dude, you were right. You clocked it. Shit was bad back then.
Yeah.
And then, like, Saw came out, and I thought it was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Saw really shook stuff up.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, like, in retrospect. But yeah, movies like this, like, I don't know, what else would you kind of loop in with this?
I mean,
movie?
it was like, what, it was White Noise around this time?
White Noise was, I think, also
Fear.com.com
2003.
was
yeah.
somewhere around this area.
So just this kind of, like, I don't know, the idea that those are in any way underrated classics. I just think of, like, horror fans will be like, Hereditary's overrated. But you know what's underrated is the shitty ass, like, bleach bypassed looking movie that I watched once on TV with commercials.
I think a lot of people saw this at an age where it made an impact on them.
I think
and then
so.
they never
revisited
revisited
and you've never watched it since.
And they're like, oh, Darkness Falls terrified me. That's the Tooth Fairy one. That shit was so
Yes.
scary. Meanwhile, I'm in the theater not paying attention.
And, like, well, yes, we'll get to that. But, you know, you can like any movie.
Sure.
Like We Hate Movies says, our friends at We Hate Movies they say it's okay to like a movie. I like Human Centipede, so all of my movie tastes have a big old asterisk next to them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, this is kind of a big old stinky dump of a movie.
It's
but you have a special relationship with this movie that I'm so excited I finally get to make you tell this story on the podcast, because we eventually, in our years of talking about horror movies, we finally got to this one.
Yeah.
You gotta tell it. I'm making you tell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
How many times did you see this in theaters? We'll just start with that. Which is like 4 or 5.
I saw it 4 times in theaters.
James saw this 4 times in theaters.
I'm pretty sure. And here's the other thing. I don't know this specific detail was made to you. I'm pretty sure it was back to back weekends.
Oh, weekends. Okay.
Yeah.
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 You didn't just sit in the theater all day and like they didn't kick you out because they didn't care.
No, maybe knowing what I was doing, it might have been 2 in one weekend.
Okay.
Okay, so James was a fuckboy. All right, sorry.
James was a fuckboy up until I started dating him. Let's be honest.
Yep.
I made an honest man out of him.
And this was probably the beginning of my fuckboy because I was 13. You can't really start before that.
13, 14. Yeah.
You know, I guess you could, but I didn't. I started around 13. So I saw this movie 4 different times in theaters with 4 different girls in the span of a month. It was the horror movie that was out at the time. So you'd go to the movies with the theaters. And
it's a good one for that because it's a horror
purpose.
movie and there's enough.
There's some jump scares.
You know, yeah, and that's the whole point. You know, you take a girl to the movie theater to take her to a scary movie, so you maybe cuddle. But this is boring enough to where no one's gonna care if you actually watch it.
Yeah. Yes, this was the one I saw 4 different times in theaters with 4 different girls.
And the only, I think you said the only thing you remembered about this was that there was a lighthouse at the end.
Yeah. That was the only thing I remembered.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you just see a different movie?
Because it was a horror movie.
Oh, sure, I guess.
It was a scary movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's January.
That's the move. Oh,
It's
sure.
a January release, so I don't think anything else is probably coming out.
You're not going to see Return of the King.
I was gonna say let's see what else James could have seen.
In January 2003.
Was that A Beautiful Mind or after?
13-year-old James was not seeing A Beautiful Mind.
It's a long movie though.
Yeah, but let's see.
When did this come out? January 2003. Okay,
Yeah.
January 2003 movie.
Not as long as Google's not lying to us.
Yeah, the fucking AI.
Just
search
Married.
results. Okay, Finding Nemo.
I was not seeing.
Oh,
Finding
Chicago.
I did see National Security for sure in theaters.
You
around the
could have
same
seen
time.
Kangaroo Jack. You could have seen
You
Getting.
could have seen Kangaroo Jack.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I learned. I don't know if either of you've seen that, but I remember seeing that and being like, "What the fuck is this?" Because it's super like tonally, it's bizarre, and apparently that's because the movie didn't have the fucking CGI kangaroo in it when they wrote and filmed
I
it.
did.
right,
I did
yeah.
know that.
And
yeah.
afterwards, when they did those little commercials with it, it's kind of like the Pink Panther.
Yeah.
When I saw the Pink Panther movie
Like
as
the
a kid, I
original?
was so
Yeah.
disappointed that I'm like, who's this fucking guy? You know?
Yeah, I definitely saw National Security starring Martin Lawrence and Steve Zahn.
for sure.
Damn, man, movies used to be so good.
Well, that's the thing is this movie was made for $11 million and made $40 million. That's a
Yeah,
solid
that's the
little
thing.
turnaround.
That's movies.
That's
This-
great.
And
Yeah.
to put that in perspective, the cast of this movie, who the fuck are any of these
Dude,
people?
this whole time we're like, is that? We look them up. No. And half the people, when you look them up, in the intro paragraph of their Wikipedia
They're
article,
known for this.
mentions Darkness Falls, which is never a good
It's
sign.
never a good sign. If you're watching a bad horror movie, you look up an actor and it's like, oh fuck, they're
I dug a
they're
little
known for
deeper.
this
One of the
thing.
nurses near the end in the
Okay.
staircase. She
Nicole
was in.
Kidman.
She was in. Funny enough, this is an Australian co-production.
There's a ton
So,
of
tons of Aussies,
a lot of stealth
some
Australians
accents sneaking in.
here, yeah.
One of the nurses near the end was in Wrong Turn. She was like one of the 2 main chicks in Wrong Turn.
okay.
So Australian. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the lead actor in this passed away.
Yeah, like pretty soon after this. I think he was, what was he, 30?
Maybe a few years after, but he was real young. He was like 30 something.
Yeah.
He might have been like younger than he might have been like my age or a little
he
older.
did some TV because this is the other thing is
That's the thing is like these people were in stuff. It just all
it
happened
was a
to
lot
be,
of 2000s TV I wouldn't have watched.
Yeah, it's all stuff that I just happen to have not seen. I do recognize the name Emma Caulfield.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, she's the
She
lead.
was
she's
on
in Buffy.
Buffy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
and she
then-
was in WandaVision apparently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
She
We're getting-
was
yeah.
Sarah Proctor.
And then Emily Browning briefly plays the young version of her.
Oh, okay.
In the beginning.
Oh, the main. Okay, so the main guy.
Shady Clay.
Yes, he was on The Shield, which I still haven't watched,
Okay, yeah,
but
we
is
haven't
on my
seen
list
Shield.
of TV I need to watch.
The guy with glasses was in. He is best known as the host of the children's television show Couch Potato on ABC. Okay, yeah, that's what we're talking about here. That's the kind of stuff you get when you look.
Which
at this cast.
does make me. It's so interesting because ideally, movies would allow for this more often.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like in a perfect world, entire movies have casts where it's like this is kind of an earlier step in their career or more of a break, and the movie still makes all its money back, and you know, like
Oh yeah,
just-
I feel
just
like Darkness Falls is a great example of what movies used to be.
Yes.
You get a cast that's mostly unknown, but like some roles, it's some people moving from TV to try film. It's a reasonable budget, 11 million. It makes a good turnaround, 40 million. People went and saw it. It opened number 1 that weekend. Here you go. That's a movie. That's what it
Yeah.
was 20 years ago.
You
Yeah.
sell it to TBS.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's PG-13. They'll play this all.
Yeah.
There's one F-bomb. They use their one F-bomb
yeah.
near the end.
It's a shame that it sucks.
Real
bad.
The problem is that it
The
fucking
problem
sucks.
is that it fucking sucks
It's
ass.
garbage. It's boring as shit.
The actors are doing their best.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny though because like living now in the 2020s, I'm just so used to every movie being a stack of people that are in a gajillion other things because the pool I feel like just keeps getting smaller and smaller. And so everyone in watching a movie where I don't really recognize anyone, everyone feels like an AI version of an actor you kind of recognize. It's really uncanny. Like the lead girl is like a Natalie Portman, Jessica Chastain AI approximation.
She's fine.
Yeah.
I hate speaking poorly of the dead, but the lead guy sucks.
Like character sucks.
Sure. He's also just this is how I felt covering Hannibal Rising. I was like, this fucking sucks, but it sucks that he died. Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about this movie then.
Yeah. This is all I knew about this was the Tooth Fairy horror movie.
Tooth Fairy horror movie.
So I didn't know.
Slap it. There's your log line. Sell it. Get it into theaters.
Tooth Fairy horror movie, but it's not the Tooth Fairy.
It doesn't really have anything to do with teeth after they
No.
established it.
I
It's more
wonder-
about being afraid of the dark.
Yeah, I wonder how far into the writing process they decided, fuck it, let's make the monster the Tooth
I was
Fairy?
reading that a lot of stuff changed in post-production.
No, really?
Yeah, so the main character was originally supposed to be a little bit more troubled, and the existence of the Tooth Fairy was supposed to be vague to make the audience question if he was the killer
If he
or
did
not.
it. You can tell they cut around the, this guy's troubled part. Because there is like a Requiem for a Dream style pill montage, and we don't talk about that ever again, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, all right, let's get into it.
Yeah, so we get our opening with the legend of Matilda Dixon.
Yeah, this was probably just added in post.
This screams of like, shit, we need to write a little intro for this.
Because we're hearing all about Matilda Dixon, the Tooth Fairy of Darkness Falls. Darkness Falls is the name of the town.
Yeah, Darkness Falls, which, Darkness, that's the most evil sounding.
Yeah, don't live in Darkness Falls.
It's like Silent Hill. It's scarier sounding.
It's
than
literally
Silent Hill.
cursed by her because she lived at a lighthouse.
She
Anyway,
lived on the same island as the lighthouse.
Lighthouse
I think.
Point, yeah.
Yeah.
And she was friends with kids.
Yeah, it sounds like it's the thing that women who are often burned for being witches are kind of where she's like a creepy childless hag type character.
Yeah, but I don't think the townsfolk didn't like her until she got burned in a fire and then all disfigured and had to wear a porcelain mask.
I don't know. Would you like the random old woman walking around paying your
she hot?
kids for their teeth? Because that's what she would do. Is she every time a kid's tooth fell out, she would give them a coin. So she
Yeah.
was a tooth fairy essentially.
Sure.
But
That's
then-
fine.
What's she buying all those teeth for?
What's she doing with those teeth? Mm-hmm. Maybe making them into a mask?
Or yeah, or
As
like
we see at the end?
was it sharp objects? Is it like that situation?
Oh.
I forget. Did you read that book?
Yeah.
Yeah, where she's making like a little house or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gross. Anyway, 2 kids go missing, and the town's like, that is the old lady, so they hang her. And
Yeah.
on her,
It's kind of Dead Silence too.
yeah.
Also another childless hag who likes to entertain children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with her dying breath, she curses the town. And then the next day, they find the kids who went missing.
Yeah,
And
they
they're
go,
like,
oh, our bad.
And they
Those
just bury
fucking
her.
kids. Dude, did they high number. They like, we're gonna play an epic prank on this lady, and
Maybe.
then oops, it got a little out of control.
So that's the story of her. And then we're in 1990 with the kid version of our protagonist, Kyle.
Yeah.
And he's just lost his last baby tooth.
Yes.
And there's some stuff here.
Because, okay, there's a lot of bullshit with this legend, because now what it is because Matilda was burned up in a fire by the townspeople. She's kind of got this Freddy Krueger demon thing going on, where she is this now literal demonic tooth fairy that if you're a kid living in Darkness Falls, when you lose your last baby tooth, she will come get it. But if she comes into your room, like, you can't look at her because she doesn't want you to see her burnt visage thing. I think that's
she's
it.
wearing her mask. She
Yeah.
doesn't want you to see her mask.
Right.
I guess.
She's-
But
yeah.
yes, if you look at her, she'll kill you.
Yeah.
And
So just don't do that.
don't do that. But Kyle does. But before he does, his like little almost girlfriend visits him, and I won't say make out because there's not tongue, but it's like a deep kiss.
They kind of have these two 13-year-olds, if that kiss like a little too hard.
It's a hard kiss.
It's like, huh?
And I'm like,
I don't like looking at it.
yeah, I would rather watch like adults play like give me a Pen 15 situation or something.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, because here's the thing: is there are crumbs of
A story.
what could be a good theme
Yeah.
in this movie about a difficulty letting go of your childhood and having these like childish focuses, because when the girl comes over, first his mom's like tucking him into bed. He's like 12, 13, it's the
He's
age
got
where
Spider-Man stuff everywhere all over his room.
But his mom's like, "Oh, are you gonna ask that girl to the dance tomorrow?" So like, there's like that coming into that age,
Yes.
but you're still getting tucked in by your mom, so there's that kind
Yeah.
of duality. When the girl comes over because she like climbs in his window, she's like, "Oh, you still have that trophy you won in kindergarten." So it's like not wanting to let go of these things that you've gathered up through childhood.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these little things that if this movie were made today, could maybe come together in some kind of theme and interesting. But no, not here. There's like. You're like, oh, is this going to be anything? No. I
it's
got a
not.
little bit excited when I started noticing all these little things. And
This
then
that sounds
nothing
like
came into
this
them.
could be the seed of like a cool Mike Flanagan movie.
Yeah. Yeah, or,
with this
give it to
tooth
anyone.
fairy.
Mike Flanagan remake, maybe that's
Do
his
Mike
new
Flanagan
project.
remake Darkness Falls?
Yeah,
That'd be
I know that
sick.
you're probably bored, Mike. You don't have a lot going on. So go ahead and just remake Darkness Falls just for us.
Yeah.
Anyway, when he looks at Matilda Dixon, which is also the most Australian name ever.
I do need to say that the girl who shows up playing the younger version of his love interest in this movie, it's
Yeah.
fucking Emily Browning. She was if you were a teenage girl on LiveJournal in the 2000s, she was like the girl. Like I remember when
Wait, how old was she when she was alive?
she's my age.
Okay, so
Like teen, but like
also be a
like
teenager?
it's teen girls on LiveJournal being like, "Oh my god, this is who I want to be."
Okay.
Yes, yeah. She like if you were into like fan fiction of stuff you liked, the descriptions of like all original characters that are supposed to be the reader's stand-in are just her. Like she was such a thing. And they're like 5 people, probably other women, vigorously nodding their heads right now. I
You
remember
said she was supposed to be, or that people wanted her.
she was the easy fan favorite to play Bella in Twilight.
Okay, so
Anyway,
he
yes.
sees Matilda, and she starts attacking, but he knows that she's afraid of light, so he goes into
Whoa,
the bathroom.
as one of our lights just turned off.
Is that true?
Yeah, it did.
Matilda's coming.
She's coming.
He hides in the bright bathroom, and his mom is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then she gets got
Yeah.
by Matilda.
And when you shine a flashlight at her, she makes this noise that sounds like E.T. when they're chasing him around in the woods with the walkie-talkie / guns.
No, I thought you
Like,
said that's the noise that.
Oh yeah, she also throughout this movie makes the same noise that okay, every school has this kid that makes this noise randomly.
Yeah, I can't even do it.
That's what she sounds
That's what she
like.
sounds like, for sure. But I can definitely picture
that kid.
The kid who did it.
Every school's got one. Kids, is that still a thing now? Do your schools still have weird dinosaur noise, kid? I feel like they're like a crucial part of the ecosystem. You don't have Invader Zim kids anymore.
Oh,
That's
you
our
don't.
age.
I was just talking about Invader Zim kids on the way home from the movie we saw today.
Yeah, I was friends with Invader Zim kids, but boy, was I not an Invader Zim kid. That's for sure. Anyway, when his mom gets killed, we get the single best thing in this movie is a shot that pulls out of the bathroom where he's hiding in the tub, and Tooth Fairy is like hiding on the other side above the door frame. It's a cool shot. That's it.
Yep.
It's all downhill from there.
Yep, I was gonna say, if you liked this opening, don't worry, it's all fucking downhill.
Like
from
the
here.
opening scene is the best part of the movie.
It is.
Yeah.
It's the ghost ship phenomenon where you got this cool opening and then we have to do the rest of this movie, huh?
All right, so let's jump on forward to 13 years to 2003.
To our grown up.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. No, we forgot to say that Kyle got arrested for killing his mom.
Oh, yeah, that
The cops
cause,
just assumed he killed his mom.
This town's a weird thing where it's the same thing as like a Santa Claus movie where presumably this Tooth Fairy is taking teeth. So who do the parents think is doing? It's the same problem.
Well, at the very end, we do see a mom slip some money under a pillow, but that's after the Tooth Fairy's been vanquished.
Right.
So I don't know.
Now they're like, fuck, we have to do this.
Yeah. But up until then, these teeth are presumably just disappearing.
Yeah, and along with kids who look.
But the town doesn't want to acknowledge it. So instead, they're just going to say this 12-year-old kid, 13-year-old boy murdered his mom, lock him away in a psych ward.
Yep.
For I don't know how long, but he's out in 13 years. When
Yeah.
It's 2003, and he's in Vegas. Mm-hmm. Get to see a nice little shot of 2003 Vegas.
Oh,
the
with
strip.
all this stuff that's not there anymore. There's like the sands. I forget what else is in that overhead. It's really awesome.
But Caitlin, his little girlfriend at the time, she has also grown up, and now she has a little brother who's like 12 or 13. So she's like mid-20s, close to 30, but she's got a little brother who's like 12 or 13. Sure. And the little brother Michael, is now being plagued by the Tooth Fairy. He's being plagued by a lot of shit, I gotta tell you.
I still don't get what the fuck is going on with this
He can't
kid.
sleep. He can't sleep, and that's why she reaches out to Kyle, because she's like, my little brother can't sleep. I remember back when your mom was killed. Oops, sorry, but about around when your mom was killed,
you also couldn't
sleep. So could you talk to my kid brother or something? Could you like come back here to presumably this East Coast town? There's a lighthouse.
It feels very East
It feels
Coast,
New
yeah.
Englandy, right?
Yeah.
They're hanging women for being witches. That's classic New England. That's what you do up there.
Yeah.
So that's where I assume he has to travel from Vegas.
From the middle of his butt rock drugs montage.
Chelsea's like, I think I know this song. And I look it up and I'm like, no, hon, this song was written for this fucking...
He goes, you don't know this song. It was made for Darkness Falls.
Yeah. It's the band was Closure. And their Wikipedia article. The album produced one single, which was included in the 2003 film Darkness Falls. Later, the band started a MySpace page and recorded a few tracks privately, but they disbanded in 2006 after being dropped from their label. But you know what? Their lead singer, Brian Howes, went on to become an award-winning producer, so he probably found more money that way. He worked with Puddle of Mudd and Simple Plan, so that's no slouch.
Makes sense.
Good job, guy.
Yeah, nice.
But back in 2003, he couldn't have known that because he was still making this butt rock.
Yeah.
He's playing when Kyle is doing all his drugs.
A lot of pills.
A lot of pills.
pills.
Stay awake, go to sleep, anti-anxiety. He's doing all the pills when he gets this call from his childhood girlfriend who's talking about his dead mom.
Who's like, please come here to talk to my brother, who is the funniest part of this movie.
This little kid is knocking on death's door.
Holy
this whole
shit.
movie.
I don't know what the director, I don't know what direction they gave this kid, and I don't know what kind of makeup they put on him, but this kid is like the frailest. Like, it's like he's like Romanov Dynasty frail. Like, he's like sit on a chair wrong and bleed internally to death frail. And he sounds kind of like a cartoon duck sometimes. He sounds...
Oh, yeah, he talks like...
He talks like this. Like, he sounds like one of fucking Donald Duck's nephews.
Caitlin says that when you grow up, you're not afraid of the dark anymore.
Anytime this kid said anything, it took
Well,
us.
literally, Kyle like eventually goes and sees him, right? And he's like, "Oh, you've been like how? Why can't you sleep?" And the kid's like, "I've been seeing her." And he's like, "Who?" And he's like, "You know who? You've seen her too." and then
Classic creepy kid.
And then this motherfucking kid, guys, he says, "Sometimes I think about turning off the lights and letting her kill me." Like, this kid doesn't even have to pay bills yet, and he's already like, maybe
he's ready to end it.
maybe just let it happen.
Yeah.
It's too tough fucking hanging in there fighting off the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, he's ready to unalive himself via Tooth Fairy.
Yeah. Sometimes I think about brandishing a gun and running at the cops.
Oh man, sometimes I think about saying actionable things about what I want to do to the president of the United States on the internet. End it.
This fucking kid, dude. There's also this guy named Larry.
Yeah, who is
He's got glasses.
the friend?
So you see, and this is the thing, you see him as a kid in the 1990s scene when
and I don't even remember.
you didn't clock this, but I was like, who's the fucking nerd who just ran out? He's not. He's just a kid with glasses.
But that's how you know he's the friend character. Is he has glasses.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when like Kid Kyle's being taken away in his kitty cuffs for killing his mom. And, like, Caitlin is there like, well, I was just talking to him. And, like, this little kid with glasses runs up. He's like, hey, what's going on? I was like, that seemed deliberate. Lo and behold, we meet that kid later as an adult.
Wow, congrats, movie. There's a detail in here that wasn't put in a post-production. You wrote in this kid to have him show
Fucking
up
Larry.
as an adult.
And he's all mad at, he's not mad. He's, like, nice to Kyle. But he is like, dude, why'd you have to come back? I've been trying to get with her, but she can only keep talking about you these 13 years.
He's been getting cock-blocked by this dude in Vegas. This
Yeah.
guy who's not even there and maybe killed his mom. Like, maybe, you know what? Maybe it's not him, Larry. Maybe it's you.
Larry is an attorney.
Yes.
Kyle says he's in gaming.
Kyle says he works in games.
No, he's talking about Vegas.
Yeah.
I guess he wanted to church it up a little bit.
Yeah. And it makes sense that he'd be in Vegas, and they don't mention this, but
They don't, but it's fine.
I think that, you know, Vegas, there's constantly lights on. Like,
Yeah.
you're never going to be in the dark.
It's
in
never
Vegas.
dark in Vegas. You can always find a place with lights.
Right.
So that makes sense that he lives there. Larry takes him to the town bar.
Ugh.
Where
The one bar.
Yeah, your childhood home bar.
Yes.
And they're there, and there are people there who's like, isn't that the guy who killed his mom?
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, I forget how it happens, but a bunch of beer gets poured on, like knocked onto a woman whose reaction is it's like she's competing in a wet t-shirt contest. It like falls on her, she's like, ah! And she like literally rubs herself down.
Yeah. It's like vulgar.
It is. We rewound that too.
Yeah, we
just to be
did.
like, did that just happen?
Yeah.
Sure enough, it did.
Yeah. Then there's a bar fight.
Yeah, and the guy's like, kick his ass.
Kick his ass, Ray.
No, that's way too much energy, hon.
Kick his ass, Ray.
Yeah, it's like some ADR line.
It's a fucking loop group, dude.
For sure. So Ray and Kyle get into a fight. They spill outside. They tumble down a hill. It's like the nice guys.
Yeah,
They
they
stumble
fall
upon
down
a dead
a
body.
hill for a little too long.
Yeah. And then like Ray's like, these are my woods. And
Yeah.
he's like looking around for him. And then the Tooth Fairy fucking Raiden spears him.
Yeah.
It's like if you're Raiden, you do forward, low
Pretty
punch.
cool, actually.
And he like just flies in a horizontal line and takes Ray out.
Yeah.
The cops go looking for the boys.
Yeah, and like this isn't great because obviously everyone's just gonna think the guy who probably murdered his mom probably murdered Ray, everyone's favorite town drunk.
Is he everyone's favorite town drunk?
I don't know.
His
He
body
probably makes the bar the most money. They're probably sad that guy's dead.
There's also, you pointed out, it's like Larry and the town cop, who's now all of a sudden a character, Maddie.
Yeah, they're okay. So what happened? That the cops show up because there's a bar fight, and they're like, "Fuck, these two assholes are fighting in the woods. We got to go find them and break it up." But they They all get down to the woods, and everyone's fucking terrified.
Well, Larry
for some
specifically
reason.
is like doing, and I think it's just because it's like, oh yeah, wouldn't it be funny if he's like, oh yeah, let me
He's
go
the
with you.
scaredy
He's
cat
like the scaredy
friend.
cat.
But what the fuck are they
They're just in the
scared
fucking
of?
woods.
They're in the
They're grown-ass
woods
men.
and they're trying to find two drunk guys. It shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, like something moves in the thing. He's like, what's there? Oh no, I'm not scared. I'm a grown ass man.
So like, is it? Do they believe that the tooth fairy's real? Like, what's going on?
I mean, I guess there could be
here?
predators like animals.
Are they on like an island?
You can have.
No,
don't-
not really. On an island?
I don't know.
That's why, like.
If the lake freezes and then the wolves
Oh,
walk
yeah,
over.
okay, yes, like
an
in
Isle
like
Royale
in Isle Royale.
situation.
Okay, that's different. That is different. You're right. I'm thinking like Catalina Island or something where
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like,
That's
the
right.
only big animals here are. Was it
Deer?
no, fuck, what was it? Like the horses or something?
The
that
buffalo.
The
they
buffalo that
buffalo,
they brought
thank you.
over for a
There's-
film shoot
yes,
and left them there.
Some of my favorite movie trivia. There's buffalo on Catalina Island because they shot a western there and didn't feel like shipping them
We used
back
to make movies
to the
here.
mainland.
They find Ray's body because it falls on Larry.
Yeah.
So that sounds like trouble for Kyle. But first, he's gonna go and talk to Caitlin.
Yeah, he's
who says,
the classic setup of love interest tending to the main guy character's wounds.
with the classic line of, "Okay, I need to get this gravel out of your scalp."
I need to get this gravel out of your scalp. Then, yeah, the fucking cops come to take him in, and they're basically like, all right, dude, what's up with all these flashlights?
Oh yeah, he's rolling with a whole bunch
He's
of
got a
flashlights.
ton of flashlights and drugs as well.
Oh, yeah.
But they're mostly concerned about the flashlights because that's weird. Having a bunch of drugs in like this small town is not that weird. It's boring. There's like one street that we see over and over again.
Yeah.
You know?
People need those drugs.
Yeah. But the flashlights.
This is when I think she's going to the police station to pick him up or something. No, because Larry bails him out. But anyway, she's like sitting in her car and a cat jumps on the hood out of nowhere, and it's just the most blatant here's a jump scare
Cat
ever.
jump scare. It doesn't even work that well as a jump scare because it's not, at least the version we were watching, it's not mixed super loud or anything. There's just kind of a cat.
Well,
that
all I know is when I asked our
pops
buddy
up out of
Mike
nowhere.
if he had ever seen this movie, his response was, yes, the only thing I remember about it is getting mad because the only moment that scared me was a stupid cat jumping on the hood of a car.
There you go.
So got him.
Got him.
Gotcha, Mike. So the doctors want to put her little brother in a sensory deprivation
Yes,
tank.
I love this. So they're trying to get to the root of what's wrong with this little kid. And they're like, look, this kid's fucked up. He's scared of the dark. He's not sleeping. Which
his
is,
arm's all bloody too.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
he like fell asleep with his arm in a shadow.
Yeah.
He was like, so I
he
guess
sleeps with a lamp like over his head.
like pointed at his face. No wonder he's all the bags under his eyes.
Yeah.
You're fucking tanning yourself while you sleep.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
But his arm was outside of the cone of light, and I guess she got it.
Yeah.
But now they think he's hurting himself, I guess.
I think so,
And
yeah.
so they want to put him in a sensory.
They basically think
deprivation tank.
he's so convinced of this monster that's out to get him that he is then hurting himself as it's part of him making it happen almost.
Yeah.
But they decide, okay, the best way to handle this, your brother who is scared of the dark to the point where he's hurting himself over it, is to put him in a sensory deprivation chamber. Great. Amazing. I
Yeah.
think that's genius. They're like, fuck it. We're just going to go 0 to 60 and we're going to really fuck up this kid. They're like accelerationist doctors. They're like, let's fuck him up as fast as we can, as much as we can.
Just break
and
him and
then
we can
it can
rebuild
only
it.
get better from there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Larry bails Kyle out of jail.
Yeah, then they go buy a bunch more flashlights.
You know that scene in Terminator when Arnold gets a bunch of guns?
Yes.
That's Kyle at this place getting flashlights.
Yes,
And it
yes.
is a gun shop too, but he just like
He's
like
only buying flashlights.
yeah, Dick Miller's there like, "Oh, that's a nice solid confined beam of light there. You won't get any spread or anything on there. How many of these do you want?" And he's like, "All of them."
Listen, I do think growing up, I had it emphasized to me by my dad to like always have a good flashlight
Like a
around,
mag light.
like a heavy mag light. Because one, they're good if the power goes out or anything. But two, if you're in a situation where you gotta defend yourself, a mag light, you'll fucking knock someone right the fuck out. So pro tip.
You know, if you always just have a flashlight around.
Yeah. Like,
Because it can light your way, and if you ever, I don't know, if you ever get into a situation.
you know, you never know.
Anyways, it's. I adore Bob Rebecca.
Midwestern dads do be like that, though. Oh, man.
He also steals a gun from this place because that's totally something you can do at a gun shop.
It's easy. Everyone go try it and tell me how it goes.
Sometimes I think
Sometimes.
about trying
Yeah.
to go steal
I
a
wish
gun
I-
from a gun
I
shop.
wish I could walk in the sun.
You're turning in British.
Yeah,
You're just
I
reverting
know.
to your little street
I
urchin
know.
voice. Larry's trying to drive him somewhere, not to the hospital, because Kyle wants to go stop them from putting Michael in the dark. Larry's like, no, I'm not taking you there.
No.
So Kyle pulls his gun, and I pull out my gun, and he's like, take him to the fucking hospital. Mm-hmm. Then, Tooth Fairy
Yeah,
flies in
because
front
we
of the
can't afford to go to another location.
Tooth Fairy flies in front of the car. Larry crashes that car. Kyle flies the fuck out the window. Second best part of this movie.
Yep.
After that intro,
Yep.
he's just right through the windshield. It's great.
Yeah. R.I.P. Larry, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love how he's still in the car because he wore a seatbelt. And Tooth Fairy goes to get him. Because I guess at this point, it feels like she's just framing Kyle for murder over and over.
It seems like it.
Because, like, she killed Ray and his mom.
Yeah.
But she's never, like, going after him, even
Yeah,
though ostensibly.
Like, what did he do to deserve? I mean, like, he looked at her when she came
That
to.
guy looked at me.
They-
I'm going to fucking ruin his life and make everyone around him think he's a fucking murderer.
But it's like, oh yeah, everyone thought I was a murderer when those two fucking assholes went missing.
Oh, yeah.
How does it feel,
Yeah.
random kid?
How does it feel, 12-year-old Kyle concerned about asking a girl to dance the next day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's this movie's internal logic doesn't make any sense.
When Larry gets pulled out of the car, though, she pulls him out through the window, like the door window, and he definitely nails his head
Yes.
as he's getting pulled out the window. It's pretty funny. Kyle goes back to the jail?
Yeah, because Larry's dead. And so the cops are like, all right, buddy, we're putting you back inside this cartoon.
Oh, they get him.
This cartoon jail.
And they're like, where's your lawyer? And he's like, my lawyer's dead.
And they go, okay, are you confessing to having murdered him? So they find him and they're like, oh, yeah, that guy sure is dead. And I love that this police station, do police stations ever look like this where it is like the one room with everyone's desks and there's a little cell in the corner?
Yeah, like it's literally like bars. I remember there's a similar setup in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yes.
Like they go to a jail and like they're in there where they're just, it's the whole station. It's like an open floor plan station.
Yeah.
Where the prisoner, the people who are in jail, they're just sitting there seeing the
They're
police
just in
conduct their
there, yeah.
business.
I swear, what is there? There's like a horror. Is it one of the Friday movies?
Oh, yeah. Jason Lives. Part
Yes,
six.
yes, yes, yes.
But that's a much smaller situation. You know, I feel like that's one desk in a jail cell. This is
Oh.
like a whole fucking
Yeah, like a little
station.
office, yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like WeWorks built a jail
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
And then, so she attacks the police station.
Yeah, so she kind of fucks up here because I feel like, you know, all these cops get murdered except one. And so now they all gotta realize, oh shit, there is this Tooth Fairy.
Does she care? I don't know. But also, here's the thing. This is a good time to say it. This movie, the direction is awful. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's the mid 2000s, super fast cuts.
Oh, man.
Just like quick
We
shots
all-
of a moving camera.
we all saw
cut, cut.
Everyone saw The Bourne Identity and said, yes, I'm gonna learn all the wrong things from this.
It's so
and
shitty.
it sucks.
There's like, she's flying around all, crappy CG.
And you can't tell what, like, you don't get a good sense of space or anything, which is the problem with
Yeah.
that style of editing when it's not done well, because it's like, what the fuck am I looking at?
I hate it. I can't stand it.
It drives me nuts, yeah.
The director is Jonathan Liebsman, who wound up directing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, so the prequel to the reboot. because he like got in with Michael Bay, and Michael Bay produced those movies. So
Wait,
he did
is that the one with like young Leather? Which one am I thinking?
You're thinking of Leatherface.
Oh,
the
that's just
2017
Leatherface. Okay,
movie.
yeah.
Leatherface, yes. No, he directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, and then also like Battle Los Angeles, Wrath of the Titans, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie from 2014. So that's what this guy does. He also helped write. No, he did not help write this, but it was written by 3 people. One of whom, in his first writing credit, James Vanderbilt.
James Vanderbilt, what have you done?
He wrote Zodiac and The Amazing Spider-Man, Scream 5, and
yes.
Scream 6. He produced Ready or Not. James Vanderbilt helps make very good movies
And then Darkness Falls.
and also made Darkness Falls.
If we ever interview him, we're absolutely asking about this movie.
Yeah.
When do you think's the last time he even thought about this?
See, he probably memory hold it, man.
He probably did. Also, around here, we learned that they can apparently shoot the Tooth Fairy.
Those cops are shooting
Like,
her.
she
She's like
gets
reacting.
rocked by bullets in this sequence. So, again, the rules of the Tooth Fairy and what the fuck she does are very confusing and not well conveyed. And the problem is it's just, I still don't really get what she wants. I feel like the thing with the horror villain is you need some vague sense of a want, or else I just don't care.
I don't know what she wants other than to fly around screaming. That's what she does. That's all she does. She flies right at the camera. There's a bunch of those shots where it's like, "Ah!" like into the camera.
Yeah.
Looks fucking garbage.
Are we into full-on hospital chase scene at this point?
They eventually get to the hospital and stop Michael from going into the darkness. And so now they're running around with a couple of nurses, one of whom sees Kyle's like, I'm going to call the police. And he's like, the police are dead.
Yeah, and then at one point, the one remaining cop shows up. I just thought, like, oh great, the cop is here. The singular police is here.
Yes, the police man is here. So now they're rolling with this crew, and you're like, okay, so they're all gonna die. And like they're going down a stairwell, and one of the lights goes out. I don't know why all the lights are going out. I forget what the fuck's going on with that. But it happens to go out right over the stairs. So a couple of them are down on the landing, and the other part of the group is like at the top of the stairs. So they're like, we have to jump over this dark part to get down at the bottom of the stairs into the light because she'll get you in the dark. So and here's the thing: there's 3 of us. Let's jump at 3. She can't get us all, dude. It's like you're crossing a busy street.
It's
You're
like
they're not gonna
crossing
hit us all,
a
dude.
street, and it's like, well, if a bunch of us just illegally cross, they can't hit all of us.
Yeah. Kyle learned it in Vegas, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely, he did.
So on 3 they jump, and one of the nurses flies away. I think the chick from Wrong Turn. And then they try it again, like the other fucking red shirt goes. So it gets down to there's one point they're like against a wall trying to like
very
swing, like stealth mode.
infested, weirdly.
It is a little
because
infested.
infested is even, they're trying to escape these spiders, and the spiders react to light, so they're doing stuff with flashlights and kind of jumping into different little spotlit areas. And yeah, I guess this walked so infested could have I don't know.
This is when we get the cop saying all this over a fucking tooth.
Apparently.
But they got an F word in. This is a PG-13
That's right.
movie.
They got their singular F word in.
They got that F-bomb in
exciting.
there. Sorry, Molly.
Because, okay, so what? It's you can have an F-bomb, but it can't be used
As
like a verb,
you're gonna fuck him.
as a sex thing.
Yeah, it can't be a sex type thing.
It's an adjective, not a verb. Yeah. So yeah, we're doing a fucking lighthouse chase. It just made me want to watch Pete's Dragon.
Oh, you did start singing.
I did start singing Razzle
Dazzle
Dazzle Day because it is. They just need to find Red Buttons. He can help them get out of this.
Mickey Rooney worked there. Red Buttons was.
Oh, I'm sorry. Red
Doc
Buttons was the
Terminus's-
Red Buttons. Oh, you don't want to get.
You don't want Red Buttons.
You don't want
there.
Red Buttons to help.
He'll sell you out to
Do
the
you see
Tooth
the mix
Fairy,
up? They're
dude.
both little guys.
Oh yeah, the one scene they have together was
both-
always one of my favorites as a kid. 'Cause
they're
I was like,
both-
they're together.
They're just rotund little guys.
Not even that rotund. Like
They're just friendly shaped.
They're like, yeah, they're very friendly shaped.
Yeah, they're
like if
friendly
Molly was
shaped.
made into a little man,
Yeah.
she would be.
Yeah, they're both.
Also, I think I said Mickey Rourke. It's Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rourke's Pete's Dragon would be so fucking scary.
Oh my god.
Where he's running this lighthouse,
Dude, he's
drinking
drunk.
varnish or whatever
Mickey
the fuck.
Rourke's Pete Dragon is halfway between Pete's Dragon and the Lighthouse.
Yes, it is. It certainly is. You know he would kick this Tooth Fairy's ass, though.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah. Again, I just think it's so funny that she is a physical thing. Apparently, they can fuck up by just throwing stuff at her.
Dude, he fucking takes the world's wildest shot here because Tooth Fairy grabs Caitlin and she's like, I don't know, flying with her or some shit. And Kyle has like fire
this is risky.
in his hand and he chucks it at them and hits the Tooth Fairy, who is literally like holding his love interest to her chest, but he just happens to hit the Tooth Fairy in the face. I was like, dude, you could have created another Matilda Dixon right there.
Yep. But after he hits her in the face, her mask falls off and a bunch of teeth fall out.
Yeah, the mask, the porcelain mask that she wears falls and breaks, and then you see a bunch of teeth.
So
Were they like between
We
the mask and her face?
can't figure out where all those teeth were.
Because then she
this
like
whole
screams
time.
and she's missing a few teeth, but not to the amount that we saw.
I think it's implied it's like kids' teeth. Like it's
those are baby teeth.
Because there's a bunch of them.
But like the mask.
So, but yeah, it's not like the mask is made of teeth.
No, that's a smooth, solid
So
piece
were
of
they
porcelain.
all like in her mouth?
Oh.
You know, like was she like chipmunking them? You know, in
Just,
her
like,
little
fat cheeks?
Yeah,
But then the mask wouldn't fit. The mask is pretty flush with a regular
I just
size
don't
face.
understand what is happening under there.
I know. I don't know where those teeth came from.
Dude, there was apparently a whole other design for this Tooth Fairy. Yeah, when I was looking up this movie, I saw that there was an unused design that is honestly pretty fucking cool looking, and I don't mind the design for this movie. Like, trying to look at it objectively, just taking her out of the context of this movie, that sucks. I'm like, okay, it's kind of a cool thing. She's creepy. I like the mask.
It's
It's kind of fun.
I don't care because you can't see it.
Yeah, it is all. I mean, because the editing doesn't.
The
let you
editing
look
and
at
the
it.
fast motion, and like I don't care. Like, why even bother designing something if you can't
But
see
this
it?
is, and I'll put
got?
pictures of this up on the screen so people can see. But this is like a photo taken with flash in someone's workshop, so it's a little silly looking. But this is cool as fuck.
Oh,
Like, this is a fairy. This is a creepy.
Yeah. Although it does look like she has Dilophosaurus fins.
A little bit,
over her
yeah.
head.
She's got kind of
It's
like,
so she can make that noise. That's where that noise came from.
There you go. Yeah. But it's cool. There's a lot of pictures of this this design that they ended up not using, and I think I was reading somewhere that they licensed it so that, oh man, what was it? Oh, I wish I could find this thread. Someone was saying they licensed it for merchandising purposes. Oh, here we go. This person, I mean, source is random person on Reddit, so take this with a grain of salt. But they said, this movie came out when I was in high school and hung out at the mall a lot, and they had this unused Tooth Fairy character as a McFarlane Toys movie maniac that I saw for years for sale at a Spencer's Gifts, which is amazing. I'm curious to see if I can find the toy version of this. I'll put it in the video version if I can find it. But yeah, cool design. They went with this other thing instead. I don't know why. You know what? Maybe I wonder if it was a thing where this original thing had like, it's got wings and stuff, and I wonder if that's when you start factoring in either like hydraulics or animatronic type stuff, where it's like it's like, okay, that's how many additional people per day to make this thing work. Who knows?
Yeah.
That sucks though.
Her face is exposed. He says, "I see you, bitch," and hits her in the face with fire.
We loved doing that in horror movies. I feel like The Ring, I think it was The Ring 2. She's like, "I'm not your mommy, you bitch," or something. Like, I don't know why we were like just punching characters in the face and calling them bitch. We loved it, and we clapped every time.
We call that the WWE special.
And then he turns his arm into a torch. He like lights his own arm.
Oh, he does light his own arm
and
on fire.
punches
Punches
her
her in the face with a flaming
which
fist.
is
That's pretty cool.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she leaves. She's
yeah.
already dead, so I don't, it's like a Freddy Krueger thing where it's like, but he can just come back,
Yeah, I don't know.
like he just takes a break and then comes back.
Yeah, recharge, respawn.
Yeah, and then there's that little denouement with that kid.
Oh yeah, where there's no Tooth Fairy. He loses his last baby tooth. Mom swaps out for some cash money.
Like, oh great, now I gotta give this kid my hard-earned cash.
How much you get for teeth?
Me?
Yeah,
$1.
I got fivers, dude.
Really?
I know. That must have been before my dad
Wow.
got laid off.
I was gonna say, holy shit! Yeah, I got $1. I got 4 quarters
But I
every single
remember
time.
that action figures were $5.99. Star Wars action figures. So every night I'd put my tooth under there and I'd be like, I would pray. I'd be like, listen, Tooth Fairy, just an extra $1 so I can get that action figure, right? It wouldn't happen. And then I'm pretty sure I've told this before. The day I found out that there wasn't a Tooth Fairy was because to get braces, my teeth were all fucked up as a kid, and I had so many teeth in the wrong places. They had to pull 9 teeth at once in an operation.
Like, yes,
I got
what a
9 teeth
windfall,
pulled,
dude.
and I did that math, and I said, "Mom, I can't wait
You hit
to
pay
wake
dirt,
up with
man.
$45." And my mom said, "James, there's no Tooth Fairy." She wouldn't fucking pay up for that, man.
Oh man, that's so fucking funny.
Magic has a price.
Yes.
Yeah,
it does.
and it's $45.
I remember one time I lost a tooth on Christmas Eve, and when I woke up, I still had the $1 under the 4 quarters under my pillow, and there was a note from Santa and the Tooth Fairy saying that they both saw each other at my house, and it was like, oh my god, like that was the craziest shit ever.
Wow, that would be cool.
Yeah. So that's Darkness Falls. Does anyone actually like this movie?
Anyone who has watched it in the past couple of years.
Yes. Last 3 years max.
Yeah.
I say, like, you can't, having nostalgia for it, sure.
Sure.
I mean, maybe you do genuinely like this. I don't know.
Tell us why.
Tell us why. We want to know why. We want to understand you and your weird brain. Because I don't get it. It's not particularly scary.
It's just like this is one of the really low points in horror.
Yeah.
It's real. I feel like near the end of each like big trend is when it's at its worst, before something comes along and like reignites it. So like this is before Saw came in.
Yeah.
Of course,
Saw was the next year, right?
I always forget I think the first Saw was 2004, but the short film would have come out in 2000. People aren't seeing short films, but yeah, I mean, but then of course Saw produces a lot of shit in its wake of imitators.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's gonna happen with every
And
trend.
Saw goes until Paranormal Activity takes over.
Then you get
The Conjuring takes over.
yeah.
Which I'm still like, all right, that's cool. And then it's like, oh, now we're in like It Follows, Get Out. Big stuff. Big times.
Yeah.
Where we have been ever since.
Yeah.
Things are real good right now. And we don't have.
Let's all cherish it, because we could end up back here.
We could end up in Darkness Falls.
I'm curious what the next equivalent of like Darkness Falls era horror is gonna be, nothing good lasts forever. We're gonna get to this point again eventually.
Yeah.
And we'll still be here talking about it and wondering where it all went wrong. Great. Okay, so our next episode, we've got kind of a diverging paths situation. One path is a special guest, possibly.
Oh, I feel like that's going to happen later.
That's probably going to happen later?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the other path, and by the way, if this guest, which, like, it should, that's going to be super cool. I'm very excited for that. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's someone that every single person listening to this knows and is going to be pumped to have join us.
Yeah.
The other break glass in case of emergency option is I have been mainlining Bar Rescue for like the past week. And I just watched an episode where the owners of this bar truly believe that it's haunted. And John Taffer has to come in and rescue this haunted bar. And I said, dude, we have to do this as an episode. Because I was crying laughing.
Because this is the episode that will coincide with our trip, right? like will be gone when this episode comes out. So it would ideally be less of a lift.
It'll be, yes, because it's,
If you want to hear us do John Taffer's voice for an hour, then fucking let us know.
I just think,
I slipped into it already in this episode.
Yeah. It just made me laugh so hard. And I was like, it's technically on theme, although I don't think we've ever done an individual episode of a TV show ever, unless you're counting like, I don't know. No, I can't think of any.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't know. If that sounds fun, let me know. If that sounds not interesting at all, we can
watch a movie
figure
or
something out. But I just thought it would be kind of a fun change of pace and be silly. And
if
Gressel could easily join us.
Yeah, definitely.
If it does
we'll watch
sound
that episode in like 10 minutes.
Okay, yes.
If it does sound dumb to you though, and you're like, I would not listen to that, say it. Because I feel like in most cases, the only people who are actually going to leave a comment are people who are like, that sounds awesome. But then, a bunch of people say that, and then the silent majority
The silent majority, yeah.
doesn't leave a comment, and
Yeah.
then we really then no one fucking watches it.
Yeah.
So if you think it'd be dumb.
If you think that that would signal the beginning of our Darkness Falls era of horror.
if that's dead meat.
If you're like, fuck, this is the beginning of the end, say so. We will do something else. Personally, I just think it sounds very silly, and I think we'd have a lot of fun with it.
There'd be a lot of John Taffer voices. It'd be mostly John Taffer voices, which is like half a Master Shake.
At
least half a Master Shake.
Yeah, it's on the Master Shake kind of spectrum for sure. Great. Thank you for joining us.
You looked at the Tooth Fairy. The whole thing was to not look at the Tooth Fairy, and now what? Your mom's dead.
What is this? There's human teeth everywhere. Someone's gonna eat that. You're gonna kill somebody. She's got no systems in place.
She doesn't. I don't know what her system is. I don't know what her rules are.
Oh, man. All right. But you got this little boy who's afraid of the dark. So you put him in a fucking sensory deprivation chamber. Okay. If you want that for like an hour next week, let us know. Okay.
Also, if you want to see where I come from, watch the Bar Rescue episode on Chicks on Dicks.
Chicks on Dicks, dude.
It's where I come from.
It's literally as James's neighborhood.
Like
Downriver.
Go ahead and go fucking watch that and see what I had to counteract. Because I'm watching this, I'm like, I feel like I know these people.
I think a lot of the girls in that episode seemed nice. They seemed sweet. They tried their hardest.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Yeah.
Until next time, I'm Chelsea.
Sure, yeah, I'm James.
And that's Gressel.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Gressel.
Gressel. And this has been the Dead Meat Podcast.